First of all, Congressman, a lot of people have been waiting for more commercial traffic capacity at the Anzalduas Bridge, namely the southbound lanes. A lot of people think this could be an economic boom for the valley. However, this was supposed to begin back on January 1st, and they pushed it back to March. And I talked with officials, local officials yesterday, and they say no date has been set now. So do you know what the delays are all about? And also, can you use your influence as a congressman maybe to talk to Mexican officials, U.S. officials, to try to get this process sped up?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm very familiar with the issue. I have talked to Rigo Villarreal, the Mayor Darling, Mayor Beto Salinas, and other folks about this issue for a while. As you know, in the past, there was an issue with the U.S. government, but in working with them, I think we got that solved. Now it's shifted over to the Mexican side, and I have made some phone calls to some Mexican officials trying to get this up working, because again, it's to the best interest to the U.S. side, to the Mexican side, to get this. There's interest in working on this, and certainly I hope that we can work with our Mexican officials, continue working with them, so we can get this moving as soon as possible. We took care of the U.S. side, now we got to work with our Mexican officials.
All right, Congressman, many thousands of women and children came over, immigrants, in that influx of immigrants that came over last year. Now, a lot of them right now are being housed in Carn City and in Dilley, and these were essentially prisons before they were being used in this capacity. Do you think where they're at right now, is this humane, first of all, and secondly, do you think there might be another solution?
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, we prefer that they don't come over, because they go through a very dangerous trek through Mexico, very dangerous situation. But once they get over here, we got to do our best to take care of them. And again, one philosophy, there's two different philosophies. Do we have an open border, or do we have a secure border? I'm of the one that we need to have a secure, sensible border. Security, there are some people that feel we ought to have an open border, let anybody come in. I don't agree with that. So therefore, the use of detention centers and the alternatives come up. That's the detentions that we're talking about in Dilley and Carn City. Once they're in a detention center, we need to get them before a judge as soon as possible. That's why I fought for funding successfully to add 55 new immigration judges. But once they're there in detention center, if we don't move them to an alternative setting, then we need to make sure there's transparency on how they're taken care of. They're in the detention center. So I added language to make sure that we get reports from ICE on making sure they get food, care, medical services, make sure there's no sexual abuse, make sure they're taken care of while they're in those detention centers. But the best thing is to get them before a judge as soon as possible, so the judge can make the decision, either they stay or they go.
All right, Congressman, about $42 million was given to Texas to help, in federal dollars, to help out with the influx of illegal immigrants that were pouring through our borders, especially last year. Now, the city of McAllen spent over $600,000 in humanitarian aid trying to help these people and house them as they came over, and so did other communities. I believe you even said a lot of this money could go to help reimburse these communities. But when I talked with local officials yesterday, they say that there's so many agencies in the state that are vying for this money that they don't think their chances are very good. What do you think about all this? And do you think they will get reimbursed for some of the money they spent on humanitarian aid?
Well, I was the one that added the language to authorize this type of humanitarian care for communities like McAllen and other communities that did so much to help on that on humanitarian care. Number one, unfortunately, the state has taken the position not to do this type of funding. But again, I'm not giving up. In fact, just last week in the appropriations, I added the language to continue this funding. And therefore, what we are going to do is I'm going to sit down with the state and see if we can find a solution. So we authorized it. Millions of dollars are given to the state. In fact, in one program, the program we're talking about, in the last 10 years, they have gotten over $1.3 billion. Now you tell me we cannot find that money there. And again, these are federal dollars, not state dollars, federal dollars. So I'm going to continue working to find a solution. The authorization's there. The money has been sent to the state. We just got to get them to prioritize some of this funding. So I'm hoping we can find a solution to this. And I want to tell the local communities we're not giving up on this.
All right, Congressman, and very quickly, I know the Congress has about 60 days to review the Iran nuclear deal. What's your take on that? Are you for or against? And what are the arguments against this deal right now that you're hearing in Congress?
Well, you know, we just did a briefing on this just a moment ago. Right now, like anything else, I want to sit down, read the agreement, read the SAT agreements to it. I want to make sure that I read everything, listen to folks. Again, I'm a little skeptical because Iran is one of those countries that has not been very good at following international agreements. But again, we got to look at what are the options. Do we just say we bomb them the next 60 days? What are we planning to do? What are the different alternatives? But again, I want to sit down, look at this very carefully, read the agreement in detail, and then listen to the different arguments, and then take it from there sometime in the future.
All right, if we have a little bit more time, I just wanted to ask you about the 2016 presidential race. Who are you backing in the primaries as far as the Democratic ticket? And what about Donald Trump? Everybody's talking about Donald Trump right now. Is he good or bad for the Republican Party? Is he good for the democratic process right now as we elect a president? What are your thoughts? First of all, who are you backing in the primaries? And what about Donald Trump?
Well, I'm backing Hillary Clinton. I did that in 2008. I'm doing it again right now. On the Republican side, I think there's about 16 people or so that have decided to jump in. Right now, the one that's sucking out the air out of the Republican primary is Donald Trump. As you know, he's been very vocal on a lot of issues that I strongly disagree with him. I respect him as a business person, but I disagree with him on the issues that he's talked about. But again, my understanding is he's supposed to be in my hometown Laredo tomorrow. I hope he gets to see the good things about the border. You know, if you look at the crime statistics of the border using FBI statistics, along the border, the border crime rate is lower than the national crime rate, whether it's murder, rape, or assaults. And if you take McAllen or even Laredo, my hometown, Laredo had 3 murders, and McAllen's almost similar, 3 murders per 100,000. But up here in Washington, it's about 16 murders per 100,000. So, did you know that it's more dangerous here where I am at the U.S. Capitol than what it is at the border right now? So those are the type of information that I hope that he takes away and not come in and just look at negative things, but look at the good things that the border has to provide: trade, commerce, a lot of good things that we see in the Valley, we see in Laredo, we see in El Paso, Brownsville, and I hope he takes that away. He comes in to learn and as a learning experience and not a political experience.
All right, Congressman, well, I believe our time is up, so I thank you so much for joining us, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.